In the bustling city of Umoyo, a place where the streets buzzed with the energy of merchants, storytellers, and travelers, lived two sisters, Amina and Safiya. Their beauty was legendary, spoken about in whispers in the marketplace and sung in songs by the griots. But while their beauty was admired by all, what truly set them apart was their bond. They were inseparable, two halves of a whole. Amina, the elder, was known for her grace and poise, her every move calculated and thoughtful. She was the one people turned to for advice, always level-headed and calm. Safiya, on the other hand, was full of life, wild and free. Her laughter a melody that echoed through the city. The sisters, despite their differences, loved each other deeply and shared everything until Malik came into their lives. Malik was a stranger to Umoyo, a man sent from the capital to oversee the construction of the city's new bridge. He had a commanding presence, with dark, intelligent eyes that seemed to see right through you, and a smile that could melt even the hardest hearts. The first time Amina and Safiya saw him was at a festival, where he stood out among the crowd like a lion in a field of gazelles. His every word, his every glance, felt like it was meant just for them. It wasn't long before Malik began visiting their family's home, becoming a close friend to their father, a respected teacher in the city. Their mother welcomed him with open arms, often teasing the sisters about which one would capture his heart. But what started as innocent teasing soon became a bitter competition between Amina and Safiya. One evening, as the sisters sat on the veranda of their home, watching the sun sink behind the hills, Safiya broke the silence. "Do you think Malik cares for me?" she asked, her voice light but her eyes serious. Amina's heart skipped a beat. She had been about to ask Safiya the same question. "I don't know," Amina replied carefully. "He seems close to both of us." Safiya smiled, but it was a smile Amina had never seen before, sharp, almost like a warning. "I've seen the way he looks at me," she said confidently. "There's something there, Amina, something real." Amina felt a pang of jealousy, one that took her by surprise. She had always been the calm one, the rational one. But suddenly, the idea of Malik choosing Safiya over her felt unbearable. She took a deep breath and forced herself to remain composed. "Maybe," she said quietly, "but don't you think it's too soon to say?" Safiya turned to her sister, her eyes narrowing. "Why do you always have to be so cautious, Amina? Why can't you admit that you have feelings for him too?" Amina's heart raced. She had tried to hide her feelings, to bury them deep where Safiya couldn't see, but her sister knew her too well. "All right," Amina confessed, her voice trembling. "I do care for him, but Safiya, we can't both." "We'll see," Safiya interrupted, her voice cutting through Amina's. "Let's see who he chooses." Days turned into weeks, and the once strong bond between Amina and Safiya began to unravel. Malik, oblivious to the tension, continued to visit their home, spending time with both sisters in equal measure. But every glance, every word, every smile from him now felt like a competition. The tension between Amina and Safiya became unbearable. One evening, Malik invited both sisters to walk with him by the river where the new bridge construction was underway. The sisters agreed, though their hearts were heavy with unspoken words. As they strolled along the riverbank, the setting sun casting a golden glow on the water, Malik broke the silence. "You two have been quiet lately," he said, his voice soft but probing. "Has something happened between you?" Amina and Safiya exchanged a quick glance, both knowing that the moment of truth had arrived. "We both," Amina began, her voice faltering, "we both care for you, Malik." Malik stopped walking and turned to face them, his expression unreadable. "I know," he said quietly. Safiya's eyes widened. "You know," she repeated, her voice rising with emotion. "And you've said nothing?" Malik looked from one sister to the other, his face tense with a mixture of guilt and confusion. "I didn't want to come between you," he admitted. "You are both incredible women, but I can't choose." Amina felt her heart drop. She had hoped Malik would choose her, that all the quiet moments they shared, the deep conversations, would mean something. But now it seemed that those moments were nothing more than fleeting memories. Safiya, on the other hand, wasn't ready to give up. "You have to choose," she insisted, stepping closer to him. "You can't leave us like this." "I never wanted this," Malik said, his voice pained. "I care for both of you, but if I choose one, I'll destroy what you have." "You already have," Amina whispered, her eyes filling with tears. The following morning, everything came to a head. Safiya, unable to stand the uncertainty any longer, confronted Amina in their shared room. The early morning light filtered through the window, casting long shadows across the room as the tension between them finally boiled over. "Why don't you just back down?" Safiya spat, her voice sharp as a blade. "You're always the calm, sensible one, aren't you? Why not be sensible now and let me have Malik?" Amina's eyes flashed with a fury that surprised even herself. "You think I haven't wanted to scream? To fight for him? I've just been holding back because I didn't want to lose you, Safiya. But you're willing to throw everything away for him, aren't you?" "You don't get it," Safiya shouted. "You've always had everything. The perfect daughter, the perfect student, the one everyone respects. For once, I want something that's mine." The words cut deep and Amina felt her chest tighten with the pain of it. But before she could respond, their mother entered the room, her face pale and stricken. "Enough," she said softly but firmly. "I've heard enough." Amina and Safiya froze, guilt washing over them. They had never meant for their rivalry to go this far. Their mother took a deep breath, her eyes filled with sadness. "I raised you two to love each other above all else. No man is worth the destruction of what you have." Tears welled up in both sisters' eyes, the reality of their mother's words sinking in. They had allowed Malik to come between them, to tear apart the most important relationship they had. That night, Malik came to their home one last time. But before he could speak, Amina and Safiya stood together, united once more. "We've made our choice," Amina said softly, her voice steady despite the heartache she felt. Safiya nodded, her eyes brimming with tears. "We choose each other." Malik's face fell, but he nodded in understanding. He had admired both women for their strength, and now, as they stood before him, he knew that this was how it had to be. As Malik left their home, disappearing into the streets of Umoyo, the sisters embraced, their tears flowing freely. The man they had loved was gone, but in the end, they had saved what mattered most, their bond. In the months that followed, the bridge over the Umbele River was completed, a symbol of unity and connection for the city. And just like that bridge, the bond between Amina and Safiya, though tested, remained standing stronger than ever.